Coming to the next topic, we have the Election Commission of India, which has talked about maximizing the seizures, intensify the efforts in those states where we are going to see the polls coming. So we have the model code of conduct which has been enforced. And let's see what this model code of conduct is all about. The model code of conduct is a consensus document. Various political parties come on board and they mutually agree that we would follow this particular rules of conduct, right? They're not actually rules as such, but we would perform or we would make sure that we follow these norms. That is what you can understand. The political parties have themselves agreed to keep their conduct during elections in check and work within the code. It helps the Election Commission in keeping the mandate which has been given by the Constitution under Article 324, which says that the power of the conduct and superintendence of the election with respect to the offices of the President, to that of the Vice President, to that of the Parliament and state legislature is vested with the Election Commission. The MCC is operational from the date on which, this is again very important, from the date on which the election schedule is announced by the Election Commission. Election schedule is not announced by any ministry. It is announced by the Election Commission. Until the date the result is announced. The government cannot announce any financial grants, promise construction of roads or other, just to woo the public. The government should not do anything, right? That is what ideally is expected from the political parties, even the party which is in power. Enforceability of MCC. Though the MCC does not have any statutory backing, remember this, very important. It has come to acquire a strength in the past decade because of its strict enforcement by the Election Commission, especially during the times of TN session. And it was beautifully said that TN session eats politicians in the breakfast. And that is the reason the government made the Election Commission, which was a single member body, to a multi-member body, because it was in one way or the other, it was afraid of the actions of the TN session. Primarily those actions which he took during the times of the model code of conduct. If there was a possible violation, if there was a particular violation which was seen to be done, then he took a lot of actions. Certain provisions of the MCC may be enforced by invoking the corresponding provisions in other statutes. For example, we have right now Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, then we have the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, and then we have the Representation of People's Act 1951. Evolution of MCC. Kerala was the first state to adopt the code of conduct for elections. In 1960, before the assembly elections in the state, the administration prepared a draft code covering important aspects of electioneering, such as processions, political rallies, and speeches. You need to make sure that even the speeches are not derogatory to any religion, to any gender or whatever. They should not be in the form of hate speech. In 1974, the Election Commission of India released a formal MCC. It also set up the bureaucratic bodies at the district to oversee its implementation. Before 77, MCC guided only political parties and candidates. In 1979, Election Commission learned of ruling parties misusing the power, like monopolizing the public spaces and using the public money for advertisement. The Election Commission revised the MCC to include the ruling parties, because previously it was not with respect to the ruling parties. Later it was seen that the ruling parties, they are using the administrative machinery. So they were also included in the ambit of the MCC. The revised MCC had 7 parts, with 1 for the ruling party's behavior after the election announcement. The MCC has been revised on several occasions, year after year. Key provisions, we have the general conduct. No party or candidate shall include in any activity that may aggravate or exacerbate the existing differences or cause tension between the different castes or communities. We have the corrupt practices which are given in section 123 of the RPA. Those should not be done. Usage of religion, race, caste for just promoting, which can lead to the hatred in the society. Criticisms directed towards the other political parties should be restricted to an evaluation of their policies, historical performance, meetings and processions. Parties must inform the local police authorities for any of the procession which they are going to carry out. If 2 or more candidates plan processions along the same route, the political parties must establish contact. It should not be like both are confronting each other and then the fight takes place. Carrying and burning the effigies representing the members of the other political parties is not allowed. Effigies. Polling day, only voters and those with valid pass from the Election Commission are allowed to enter the polling booths. All authorized party workers at polling booths should be given suitable badges or identity cards, and then there are other things which are to be followed. What you'll have to understand is that Kerala was the first state which came up with this particular code, and this is not having a statutory backing. It's just based on a certain code which EC comes out with, the Election Commission comes out with, and generally what we have seen is that there has been proper implementation, proper enforcement of this particular code, right? Even though it does not have statutory backing, we have seen that political parties and candidates have followed this to a large extent, primarily because Election Commission has plenary powers. It can do anything as far as Article 324 is concerned. The 324 gives it the power to do so, right? Let's go to the last topic.